A Rainbow Dash episode. Well, this'll be fun. I'm not sure if it's come across before, but I am not a fan of Rainbow Dash. Why? Because her prideful, arrogant nature just makes me so angry. If something goes wrong with her, she immediately tries to shift the blame, and when it truly comes down to difficult decisions between herself and others, she'll more often than not take the wrong choice. She realizes her mistake later, of course, but only after her friends make sure that she does. It's this sort of terrible behavior that irritates me, and she never seems to learn from her mistakes. Of course, that doesn't mean I'm going to discount this episode right off the bat. I dislike Rarity, but even I enjoyed Rarity Takes Manhattan, and I love Fluttershy, yet I hate It Isn't Easy Being Breezy's. Can I get over my bias for this episode? The answer is a resounding maybe. Testing 1, 2, 3 is a nice little slice of life episode with tons of little details that make me all warm and fuzzy. Seeing Twilight flying for long periods of time, for example. I hadn't really noticed how different her wing model was to the Pegasi model. She's a lot beefier, with more feathers, since Twilight is probably a lot heavier than Rainbow Dash, as well as her troubles with little everyday things that come natural to Pegasi. The little skips in her flight cycle when she forgets to flap, problems maintaining consistent speed or altitude, or how apprehensive she still is about standing on clouds. It was really nice to see her inexperience rather than just hear about it. It's quite possible that I focused more on Twilight during this episode, as she was in just about every scene, but I was far too interested in what was going on to pay too much attention to Rainbow's abrasive personality for the most part. The ways each of the main six try to teach Rainbow what she needs for her test just makes sense as well. Each of them brings what they know to the table and try and see if it'll work for their friend, even if she doesn't seem to care all that much. Each activity matches their personalities to a T, and some of them are techniques I've actually seen people use. We already know that Fluttershy enjoys theatrical productions, so the play makes sense as her way of remembering history. In our world, it'd probably translate to binge-watching documentaries or historical television shows. Of course, Rarity would remember history by what clothing was in style in each period, as each era does have a signature look to help identify the time period. Twilight, being her egghead self, would obviously be in favor of good old-fashioned cram sessions, complete with flashcards and a big old history book. And AJ, while she didn't get a sequence, also had a point. Work her something long enough, and she'll pick up what you need to know as you go. On-the-job training, as you will. Though it may have just been an excuse to turn her into a background character. Again. You may be thinking that I forgot Pinkie Pie, but oh no I didn't. I was just saving the best for last. Pinkie's performance had me laughing all the way through. It was reminiscent of the VHS-era music video, complete with tacky gangsta clothing, scan lines, and a lowered resolution with those glorious black bars at the sides. Oh, and more vinyl, showcasing that oozing personality I talked about last week. Also, I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but at one point in Pinkie's bit, the VHS quality seemed to degrade, and Pinkie's baby blue eyes started to look a lot more green. It took me 2 views to see, but now I can't unsee it. The drop in quality leads me to believe that it may have been intentional, instead of an animation error. And I personally own some old VHS tapes where the colours have begun to shift, just not to the degree shown here. That, or Pinkie is a changeling. Season 4 ending, Changeling Invasion with Queen Pinkie Pie confirmed. This episode's entire premise is based around trying to get Rainbow Dash to remember enough Wonderbolt's history to be allowed into the reserves, so she may actually become a Wonderbolt, but... Quick question. Isn't she already a Wonderbolt? Or at least already on the reserve list? I mean, she went to the Wonderbolt Academy, and I assume graduated. Why does she need to pass some history tests now? Ah! This continuity! It's burning down! Oh well. The episode has plenty of great gags, visual and otherwise, including a little impromptu musical number from Rainbow, Spike, and Owlicious. Some of the jokes even reference in-jokes amongst the community, including concerns regarding Twilight's growing height. The fact that the test was over history also made for some excellent world-building. For example, now we know the Wonderbolts were founded 1 year after Luna's banishment, as well as how they were founded. It seems they aren't quite a military organization, but can still be called upon to defend Equestria if needed. Doesn't help that they suck at their jobs, though. Also, helicopters now canon. Damn mud ponies, the sky's ours! Of course, Rainbow still dampens this episode for me, since after the entire town gets together to help her study, her first response isn't thank you, it's I knew I was brilliant! Gee, Rainbow Dash, ever so humble. Perhaps you should be the element of humility as well. And the thing is, that wasn't even the first time she'd made it all about her. When Twilight's method failed, through no fault of her own, Rainbow was ever so quick to turn it around and throw it in Twilight's face, blaming her for it not working and making up answers to her pop quiz questions on the spot with such confidence that it is simply overwhelming, as if the universe would rearrange itself to change the names of these ponies if she believed hard enough. It's infuriating. Then, when she realizes that none of her friends' techniques will work, she becomes such a drama queen that even Rarity would have a hard time competing with it. Oh, woe is me, maybe I should give up and become a ditch digger. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo. Grow the buck up, Rainbow Dash. You're supposed to be the fearless one. What good is your arrogance if you're not going to act on it? Overall, I have to say I actually liked this episode. While I did have problems with Rainbow, they were more than outweighed by how spot on the other characters were. Amy Keating-Rogers has proven right here that just because a character isn't the focus of an episode, they don't need to be hit with a stupid stick. Each of the main six has their moment, stays in character, then leaves when their bit is done, not overshadowing the focus character, but not getting flanderized in the process. Really, really well done, Amy. 2 thumbs up. Oh, and another week means more Equestria Girls 2 shorts, and my is it great and powerful! In this short, it seems Ms. Dash is bad at guitar maintenance and needs a new one. Of course, she goes for the biggest, shiniest one. It's a good thing that no one else in Horse Girl Land is showboaty as... Oh, hey, Trixie! Of course this means a duel! Pistols at high noon, 10 steps, first mare to draw blood. Oh, they're just gonna play guitar for it? Okay, I suppose. What follows is very similar to Trixie and Twilight's magical battles, with each side upping the ante until the other is just unable to compete. Of course, Rainbow wins here since Trixie can't turn into a magical winged horse girl. Pity, really. Now, I've already made my genre of choice known as of last week, but even as a filthy EDM basshead, I know good guitar playing when I hear it, and what I heard, even though it's just riffs, is still much better than the crap they were playing in the first trailer. Trixie's even on top form, and for some reason, I just can't bring myself to hate her. I know I spent a good deal of time explaining why I dislike Rainbow Dash, and Trixie does fall into those traits, but for some reason, the fact that she does seem to learn from her mistakes and actually does get smacked down makes her bearable as a character. But that's for my Ghostbusters review, maybe during the post-season hiatus. This sequel's shaping up to be pretty good looking if these shorts are a good representation, and Vinyl even makes another appearance in the short, as the cashier of the instrument shop. While she was more subdued due to her lack of speech, she still left an impact thanks to her amazing stage presence. I still wish they'd put some Octavia in here though, maybe reference her and Vinyl's fan-created friendship, or maybe throw some classical in there. What can I say? I love the electronic stuff, but there's no beating the classics. And that is me done for another week. As always, I'm Nozovix, and we've been staring at testing 1, 2, 3, and Guitar Centered. And now, I have questions for you guys. First, regarding the video as a whole. I don't know if you noticed, but I changed the format a little this week. Instead of just recapping the episode's events verbatim, I tried to stay in the more analytical side for longer. Would you prefer if I kept it this way, or do you like the old style more? And now for the episode. The whole message of this episode was that different people learn in different ways, but do you think there was an unexplored side to this message? The main six seemed rather pushy in how they broached their methods, Rarity and Twilight especially. Do you think Rainbow Dash would have been more receptive had they not pushed so hard? As for Rainbow Rocks, it's obvious that it's going to focus around the concept of music, and now these instruments seem to be acting as pseudo-elements of harmony. Do you think this will tie into the keys in some way, or is this going to be something completely out of left field, like Sunset Shimmer's Teenage Zombie Army? Wait, what? Man, I really need to sit down and actually watch this thing. And remember everybody, like, comment, favorite, subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me out. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at @SpartanInSpace, and if you have any questions of your own, you can send them to askthecmcanalyst.tumblr.com. Have a great week, everybody. Alright girls, we're off the clock. Grab that crowbar and let's see what we can get through this crack. If you saw Samurai Applejack, I want to see what else we can find.